Hello everyone. So in this video, we'll solve this problem based on the concepts of polynomial functions. So in this problem, we have to match each graph with the corresponding equation. So here we are given these three equations and these three graphs, and we have to match them. So we'll start by analyzing the given equations. Now in each equation, we'll analyze the degree and the sign of the leading coefficient. So in the first equation, the degree of the polynomial is 4, which is an even number. So that means the graph should start and end either above the x-axis like this, or should start and end below the x-axis like this. Now the sign of the leading coefficient in this equation is positive because the leading coefficient is 0.5. That means the graph should start and end above the x-axis. So this should be the behavior of the graph, not this. So now we have to identify which of these graphs have that behavior, and it's graph C because the graph starts from above the x-axis, it comes down from quadrant 2, turns around a couple of times and then goes back up in quadrant 1. So that's why the answer for the first equation should be graph C. Now we can analyze the second given equation. So we start with the degree. So the degree here is 5, the highest power on the variable, and this is an odd degree. That means the graph goes across the x-axis from either quadrant 3 to quadrant 1, so something like this, or from quadrant 2 to quadrant 4, something like this. Now the sign of the leading coefficient here is positive because the leading coefficient here is the invisible 1, which is a positive number. So that means the end behavior of this graph is from quadrant 3 to quadrant 1. It should go across up from left to right. So this option here is not a valid option. So it should look something like this. And this graph is in A. So we can see the graph here on the left side starts in quadrant 3, then turns around a few times and then ends up in quadrant 1. So the basic shape of this graph is something like this. So that's why the answer for the second equation should be option A, or graph A. Now let's analyze the third equation. The third equation has a degree of 6. So that's an even degree. So the graph should either start and end above the x-axis or start and end below the x-axis. And the leading coefficient here is negative. So it's -1, or that invisible 1 there. So that means the graph should start and end below the x-axis. So like this. And that is the only available choice, option B. But you can see here the graph starts on the left side in quadrant 3, turns a couple of times and then ends back in quadrant 4. So here the answer should be graph B. So these are the steps you have to keep in mind to solve a problem like this one. So I hope you'll find this video useful. Please share it, like it, and subscribe to Homework Help. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.